Hey guys, it's Danielle with Pure Root Wellness. Doing something a little different today. It was a beautiful day and I just couldn't stand being inside. So got my day off, worked over the weekend, a good Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, good times. So just wanted to get outside, get some sunlight, and have a little discussion about our next topic, which is water. I truly didn't mean to purposely do this, but got the Fresh Coast hat on just because I am a Michigander living in Michigan. We're obviously surrounded by amazing, beautiful water all the time, inland lakes, and obviously, the big lakes. So I think this is a topic that a lot of people have some questions about, and I'm hoping I can help answer some of those for you. So let's get started. The first slide, why do we really need water? The reality is the body is made up of about 70% water, and that's not, that's like in cells, outside of cells, in the system, in the pipes, outside the pipes, in the tissues, kind of all over the place. So it's not really directed in one localized area, but a good portion of our body, if not more, of our body is made of water than not. So that alone should kind of tell you, I guess, the importance of drinking water and what it can do for the body processes itself. What's interesting is we can actually live without food for about 30 to 40 days, but if you got rid of water in about 3 to 5 days, you would meet your demise, basically. That's how important our body needs water to kind of function throughout the day. Water is responsible for a lot of different things. Like I said, digestion, absorption, circulation, excretion of products, transport of certain nutrients and body temperature. All of these things, again, help us exist and be functional in everyday, kind of life. And the reality is, if we didn't have water to flush these things out, at some point in time, we would actually just kind of poison ourselves from our metabolic waste, which is kind of terrifying to think about, but kind of cool in that essence of, again, how important water is. So the big question is, how much do I really need? What do I need to drink with water? Or how much should I drink with water? The reality is you're looking at about 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. Everybody knows that, everybody sees it, 80 ounces, right? That can depend on how big you are, where you're working out, where you're sitting out in the hot blazing sun, talking a lot, all of these factors kind of play a role in how much water you would need on a day-to-day basis. But the golden rule is usually about 80 ounces in a day, if you can sneak it in. But the tricks are to really drink water even when you're not thirsty, right? A majority of the time, we wait until we're actually parched, or we feel that sensation of, oh my God, I'm thirsty, I need to drink water. By that time, too late. You're already dehydrated at that point in time. That's kind of your body's safety mechanism way to say, listen, you've neglected giving me what I need, for a certain period of time, and it's basically telling you, hey, it's time. The system's gonna start going a little haywire if you don't throw some water in there and help me out. But we often don't drink enough water, period, and we confuse that sometimes with, maybe I'm hungry. I eat instead of I drink, when the reality is you're actually hungry, but or you're actually thirsty, but you start eating food. So kind of knowing what your body wants in regards to water consumption and listening to your body, I should say, is a better way to describe it, is really the approach you should go on how much water your body should be consuming throughout the day. So I always wondered this, and that's why I kind of decided to kind of look it up, but what water is the best? What kind of water, right? There's lots of different types of water out there. I mean, all the way from tap water, you're looking at, purified to distilled to alkaline water, bottled water versus mineral water, sparkling water, all of these things. There's like options, right? We got options. So breaking a few of these things down, tap is just what you think it is. It obviously comes from a source, typically a runoff of ponds or creeks, streams, rivers, lakes, things of that nature. And about half of the water in the US actually comes from these sources. Groundwater itself is what we call just kind of well water. You would know if you had well water or not. And the dicey part about tap water is it can have these impurities, if you want to call it that, in the system itself, because it's running off from the environment. And again, we filter it, we process it, it goes through the water treatment, process, but you're still looking at traces of chemicals, radon, fluoride, arsenic, lead, copper, fertilizers, pesticides, some type of industrial chemicals, sometimes bacteria, viruses, parasites, even pharmaceuticals can eventually make their way into the water system when you're talking about potential just drinking tap water. So I think it's important to know that these things are in the system itself, and there is potential to get disease processes and get exposure to certain chemicals that you may not think are in there and may not be safe. We have had breakouts in the past, right, of certain bacteria or parasites in the water. Back in '93, there were about 370,000 people that were infected with Cryptosporidium. And about 100 of them actually died, so you're looking at people who are immune compromised drinking tap water with bacteria in them or parasites. It's could be game over. So I just think it's important to be knowledgeable to know that there is potential there within that tap water source. And being from Michigan, and we're surrounded by water, right? We have it just at excess to us. But it's interesting to find out that we've had more problems than good when it comes to our water situation. I'm talking about the Flint River water crisis, and what lead has done to that city and people and children, and the irreversible damage. I'm talking like brain damage and neurological problems that came from that. Specifically in my hometown, we had a huge issue with PFAS in the water, to the point where we had a big industrial company, Wolverine Worldwide, who, they made leather shoes. The Scotch Guard that would go on the shoes was leaching into our water source and our soil and our environment, and we were drinking it. And people are, showing up with odd cancers and odd things wrong, and there's a connection. There's no doubt about it. So I know, living in the US and knowing that the water goes through treatment processes, you can trust it to an extent from my standpoint. And truly that's, why I research certain things like this, right? And why I sit here and I go, okay, what water is best and what would be the healthiest, just given, the exposures and the opportunity that's out there. Purified water is just kind of what you think of like a mechanically filtered or processed to remove impurities, but the minerals can still stay in it. Distilled water, actually, they take those contaminants and minerals out. So if you're more apt to drink distilled water because it doesn't have that mineral taste in it, more power to you. That's, some people just prefer that. Alkaline water, that came in to kind of, the new healthy thing some years back. Truly, the thought process was, if you can get your body more alkaline, your body prefers to function better, your metabolic processes and things of that nature. Well, the research actually showed that alkaline water, there's just not enough to significantly change your pH, your blood pH, within the system. Your body does a great job anyway of maintaining a neutral pH in your system. Your lungs, your pulmonary system, your kidney function, all these things, your body knows what to do with that. So if you're looking like, oh, I need to buy the alkaline water and I think it's going to improve my health, if it makes you drink more water, awesome. If you have the finances to do it, cool. But the reality is it's not really going to provide a huge significant change in, you know, in the outcomes. But again, maybe it makes you drink more water and flush out toxins. That's the ticket right there. And bottled water, you got to be careful with this one, right? Obviously, again, if it makes you drink more water, having bottled water around, awesome. Be cognizant of the risk of BPA leaching into the water from the plastic contents itself. And again, it's not really a go green kind of friendly thing to do, I guess, to drink out of bottled water. Have I? Yes. Do I? Yes. If it's available, but the reality is I don't tend to like to go, you know, to the big box stores, all the things, and every, you know, couple of weeks buy bottled water. It's just the environment alone is going to start seeing, you know, the effects of that. So go buy some, you know, bomb water bottles and get yourself a good filtration system, you know, either in the fridge, as a pitcher, what have you, and some water bottles have legit filtration systems just in them, and rack that out instead, truly. So, you know, mineral water is also something that people claim to fame, you know, can have better health benefits. Really, you're just looking at dissolving solids originating from the underground water source or spring. And these minerals and trace elements, you know, they're in the water themselves. Kind of got to be careful with that if you're already taking vitamins or minerals in the diet or supplemental form, that you're not getting too much. Like trace minerals are just that, right? Like trace. So you're not wanting to overdo it, I guess, with some of the minerals if you're consuming it in the water source as well. And then natural spring water just means the mineral content from the bottled water has not been altered. It may or may not have been treated or filtered, but it comes from an underwater spring that's been tapped. And the spring definition, the spring water definition, actually says that it must be a natural force that brings up the water to the surface of the opening, and the location of the spring should be on the bottle, which is kind of cool. And then sparkling water, they just add the carbon dioxide, give it that bubbly, you know, kind of taste. So this is another question that I've always had come up in regards to fluorinated versus non-fluorinated. Interestingly enough, my hometown, Grand Rapids, Michigan, was the first city in the country in 1945 to fluorinate their water, with the goal of preventing teeth cavities and caries. And you know, it's interesting that this stems all the way back from 1945, right? The research and, you know, the good thoughts were there. I think in regards to, you know, look at my beautiful teeth. But the reality is, you know, the research is starting to show that a buildup of fluoride can actually start to cause harm. Mottled teeth, we thought it would help develop strong bones. You know, now we're looking at maybe, you know, some bone breakdown in itself. And, you know, some people are starting to link fluorinated water to Down syndrome, you know, cancers. Each individual basically has a different level of toxicity for these toxins or chemicals. So, you know, when you're looking at putting in a city 1 part per million to help prevent tooth decay, but you're also getting fluoride through other, you know, system, your toothpaste alone, you know, if you have fluorinated toothpaste, which a good majority of the people do, I do not, just kind of for that reason, but you're getting fluoride from other entities that you're consuming throughout the day. So for me, putting it in the water, you know, I just don't see the point, I guess, now. And even so, the research, and I'm talking research out of Harvard, you know, they're looking at excess fluoride causing the fluorosis, which is obviously the mottling of the teeth. It can become concentrated in the bone, the fluoride itself, stimulating bone cell growth, altering you know what I'm trying to say, altering tissue structures and weakening the skeleton. So kind of what we thought it was doing, you know, yeah, you may not have cavities, but now, you know, we have other issues kind of popping up, which, you know, is the juice worth the squeeze per se? One of the more worrisome studies that I read in lab animals was that the fluorination or the fluoride was actually very toxic to the brain and the nerve cells. And, you know, this can be linked to memory, cognition deficits, and truthfully, the American Dental Association, although it pained them to write, you know, this research that they found, and they even stated that in the article itself, they actually found that maternal exposure, so they were looking at pregnant women, their exposure to higher levels of fluoride during their pregnancy was actually associated with lower IQs in children ages 3 to 4, more so boys than girls. So the research is out there. The studies are out there. It's just, we've been doing this, I think, fluorinating for so long. And again, yes, we've seen great things with cavities. I'm not doubting that, and I'm not doubting the benefits of that, but I think we need to also look at the bigger picture and look at the long-term, you know, health concerns that can come from that. So, you know, a lot of the filtration systems don't have the ability to remove the fluorination. One of the purified systems that I looked at, a brand actually called Clearly Filtered, they have a pitcher and they have a bottled water bottle that filters out the fluoride. So if this is something that you're very passionate about, you're concerned about, definitely look into the brand Clearly Filtered. They do specialize in filtrating out fluoride. Myself, I personally use an Every Drop. It's called Every Drop brand. It fits in the fridge water filter. And this was gnarly to me, like reading this. It actually filters out over 73 contaminants of my water system, including lead, asbestos, pesticides, mercury, and pharmaceuticals. And I'd said this earlier, but yes, pharmaceuticals. I mean, you're looking at seizure medications found in the water, blood pressure like atenolol, you know, blood pressure medications, steroids, and a lot of anti-inflammatories that are found in the water system, and we're drinking 80 ounces at least of this every day. So it's not without saying, like, getting a filtration system, looking into it, getting something that filters the water, even if it's just out of your fridge, awesome. Like, and know that you're drinking clean, pure water every day, you know, without all of this extra stuff in it. And I'm saying stuff. So, the take home. Water is obviously a necessity for health cells and promoting normal function in your body. You know, it makes sense, right? But there's no argument, and I feel like I've heard this from people where they're like, I don't like the taste of water. Water has no taste. I don't know. And again, it could be the minerals you're tasting. Could be if it's well water, you're tasting, you know what I'm saying, additional minerals that have leached from the well itself. But there should be no excuse on drinking water because it has no taste. Find something that you like that will make you drink water. If it's throwing lemon in there, if it's throwing limes, if it's throwing cucumbers, fruit. I mean, you know, there's lots of products out there that you can put fruit in the middle and it doesn't leach out, and but you get the taste of the fruit itself. I think if that's what gets you to drink more water, that's what you need to do. Invest in a fridge filter, like I said, or filtered bottled water that filters things out, that will give you that fresh, crisp water taste. You don't have to buy the fancy water to get the same benefits as plain old water. You know, the alkaline stuff and everything, again, if it makes you drink more water and you have the luxury financially to buy all this stuff, awesome. Otherwise, get a filter. It'll last you months and months, and drink that good, you know, purified, healthy, filtered water. And obviously, if you're concerned about fluoride in the water, consider filters that do just that. That was the Clearly Filtered brand. And for me, I'd be more concerned, like if I was pregnant, breastfeeding, I wish I would have known this when I was pregnant, you know, and kind of doing all the things. I didn't use tap water for like my baby bottles and things, but just think about it, right? I mean, the more you know, the better your health will be, your family's health, your child's health. You know, this is something, like you said, every single day we're putting 80 ounces, or we should be, in our body. And if we're continuously being exposed to all of these chemicals and pharmaceuticals and pesticides and all these things, and we're not filtering them out, at some point in time, you know, we're gonna run into trouble. So yeah, drink your water. Whatever kind of water you want. Put, you know, like I said, fresh fruit and vegetables and stuff in it. You know, play with it. It gets kind of fun after a while. We were like, I'm putting some lemon and I'm putting some raspberries in it, and then a little bit of mint and kind of all these things. Honestly, you'll get the benefit of some of the fruit and the vitamins that leached out, and you're getting your full dose of water, good clean water. All right, friends, that's it for today for Pure Root Wellness. If you want more information, I have on the PowerPoint where my resources are, talks about where I kind of get some of my information from. But otherwise, have an awesome day and be well, friends.